You're watching the Weiss channel. This is a special edition of the Weiss channel as I am doing part one of a CSM final exam review session. So I am taking my advanced algebra with trig class, and we are reviewing a final exam so the students can get college credit in what's called Math 1180, which is a college algebra class. All right, here's number one. Simplify -4/3 times 3y plus -7y minus -7y. Now, what happens to these threes here? The threes cancel out, right? So you have -4y, right? Now, minus is the same as plus, right? So what's -7y plus 7y? That's going to be 0. -4y plus 0 is -4y. That's it. Some of these problems will be so ridiculously easy that you're going to think, wait, it can't be that easy. Yes, it's that easy, okay? Here, look at this one. What's going to happen to these 5s? The 5s are going to cancel. You're left with 1x, okay? What's 4x and -4x? 0. X plus 0 is just x. Done. It's that easy. What's the domain and the range? The domain goes from left to right. You might notice there's no arrows here at one end or the other. Well, just assume that there should be, okay? So, from left to right, this is going to go all the way to -infinity and all the way to +infinity. So the domain will look like this: -infinity, +infinity. It's parentheses at each end because it's like open at each end. Infinity is a non-ending term. There's no real end there, okay? The range goes from bottom to top, okay? So what's the bottom here? The bottom is 0. What's the highest level? 5. It goes from 0 to 5 in brackets because it's closed circle, so to speak, at 0, and it's closed. They're solid at 5. It's not as if it's an open circle, so it's 0 to 5. What's the domain and range here? Notice there are arrows in this one. Okay, still, this goes all the way to -infinity. This also goes, even though it's going downward direction, it keeps going forever, and it's to the right, so it goes to +infinity. The domain is -infinity to +infinity. What's the range? The range, notice how this keeps going down forever, which means the bottom is going to be -infinity. But the top is going to be 0. Don't say 2, right? -7, -6, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0. This is a level of 0 for the range. So it goes from -infinity to 0. Okay? Which linear function has a slope of 2/3? Okay? If I switch this around, I have 2y plus 3 equals 3x. Okay? If I divide by 2, notice how the slope is going to be 3/2, not 2/3. Okay? Here, if I divide by 2, notice that the slope will be 1/2. Here, notice, -3 plus 4, there's no x, which means there's no slope. So forget that one. Here, all right, if I add 3y to both sides, I'll have 3y plus 12 equals 2x. Okay, 3y plus 12 equals 2x. If I divide by 3, notice the slope will be 2/3. So there's my answer, D. Okay. Which has a slope of 1/7. Okay. This one, if I divide by 1, gives me a slope of 7/1, not 1/7. If I divide by 7 here, I have a slope of 7 over 7, which is equal to 1, not 1 over 7. Here, all right, if I have y equals negative x plus 1/7, the slope is just negative 1 over 1. This 1/7 is just trying to throw you off. Don't let it throw you off. This is not a slope of 1/7. Here, if I divide by 7, notice that slope is 1/7 because the number next to the x is 1. Answer is D. Okay. Don't get confused by these big charts, okay? Look how easy this is. Letter A says, if f represents the function, find f of 1985. All that means is you go to 1985, and where is y? 20%. 20% is 1985. Look at this next question. How silly is this? F of x is 20. Here's 20. What year is represented? Well, 1985. And you might think to yourself, seriously? Is it that easy? Yes, it's that easy, okay? So don't be afraid of the easy answers, okay? Between what 2 years is the difference in function values equal to 5%? Well, try them out. 1985 to 1990. 1985 to 1990. You see how each level is 5%? You see how this goes 1980. Wait, I'm sorry. The first one was 1985 to 1990. 1985 to 1990. See how that goes a little more than 5%? No good. Okay. 1980 to 1985. Look, from here to here, it's exactly 5%. That's your answer. Look, 70 to 75. 70 to 75. That is not 5%. 60 to 65. From 60 to 65. Definitely not 5%. There's no increase there. Okay, so your answer is B. Based on the graph, is f a one-to-one function? A one-to-one function means that for every value of x, there's only one value of y. And that's the case in all of these, okay? There's only one value y. The only time that it would be more than one value or not a one-to-one function is if it looks something like this, where there is a value here and a value here for x. Okay, that would not be a one-to-one function. Okay, but when you have a graph like this, just going in an upward direction, that's a one-to-one function. In fact, this problem here is also a one-to-one function. Okay. If f represents the function, find f of 1970. Okay, 1970. In fact, in this one, they have the number written for you, 52.8. Okay, 52.8. Easy. Okay. If f of x is 68.6. Okay, where's 68.6? Here. What year is that? 1990. Easy. Okay. Between what years is the difference in function values equal to 6? 1900 to 1910, 22.8 to 29. That's like 6.4 or something. No good. Okay. 1910 to 1920, 29.2 to 33. It's not exactly 6. No good. 1920 to 1930, 33 to 39. That's 6. Done. There's your answer. Is this a one-to-one function? Yes, it sure is. Okay. That's the end of part 1. You've been watching the Weiss channel.